Today I was playing around with the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3 lettering, and I also created a new design, a fish. So I was looking through this machine and didn't find a fish design that I liked. So I'm going to show you how I created this fish, programmed in the fun Dr. Seuss poem of one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, and I will also explain what this was stitched out for. And I actually have it, so it's stitching in a circle. So once I started it, I literally kept stitching around and around because I set it up to go on the free arm of the machine. So I actually never stopped. Well, I did when I ran out of bobbin. So that is exactly what we're doing here. But I want to show you how I came up with this concept and how I use the create sequence area to put it all together. I'm actually doing something fun off to the side here. I am making a ASMR video. Now, what does that mean? This is a video that all it consists of is sounds such as whispering or crisp sounds, or as someone suggested, the sewing of a sewing machine. So I went ahead and created this long sequence for us to run and create a video that all it is for relaxing to the sound of a sewing machine. How many of you sew because the sound is soothing? Maybe you don't realize that that's why you love to sew, but when you sit down and you sew for a while, you feel so much better. So first, start by opening Create Sequence. You notice that your screen disappears and you can go into lettering, you can go into designs, and you can start creating a combination of quite a few letters and symbols and parts and pieces to put together. So I started with the fish. So as I was going through the machine, I did find an area in the this and that category, category F, and it had a fish. But as you can see, not the fish I was hoping for. That's pretty much a half dead, all the way dead fish and all the way eaten. So not the one that I was hoping for. So I decided to hop over to menu I, and in menu I is the building blocks area. Go over to the third page where you're going to find the pictogram stitches. Now, if you are wondering how I got all the stitches to be this big on the screen, there's kind of a lower corner with kind of some dots in it. And if you touch and drag, that will allow you to move it in different amounts. Now, as you're kind of noticing, sometimes I touch the screen and it moves, and sometimes it's not moving. And if you have trouble like this from time to time, you might look for a stylus or a pen that's kind of got the rubber tipped. So this needs to be designed for like touch screens that you are normally using your fingertips for, but there's lots of options, and some of the pens you might even have in your drawers might have that on there. So I'm going to be using this a little bit as well. So I did start off with choosing stitch number 5. That's going to be kind of the nose of the fish, and it's going to show up right here. Next, I took stitch number 4, but obviously this is going to be the body of the fish, but we do need to mirror image it. So I'm going to pick the mirror image kind of end to end. And that is a little long for the fish that I was searching for. So by kind of moving this up a little bit, I can come over here to the length. Kind of just bring it down in size, maybe kind of make it a shorter, fatter fish. And now for the tail. So as I was exploring the machine, I found in menu G, and in the second page was something that I thought looked like it could be a tail. So design 3 here. Once again, oh yes, so this is in the OmniMotion stitches, and you're going to notice that it is much bigger. So if you look down here for width, it's 15 millimeters. Now I knew that my stitching, my letters were all going to be 9 millimeters wide, so I didn't really want my fish tail to be like super big. So we can go ahead and start to bring it down, both in length and in width. So let's do width first. I brought it down to 9, and then I kind of just shortened it so it was like in proportion to the body of the fish that we were kind of going for. And of course, we'll do a mirror image with that as well. So there's my fish. What you'll want to do is, so you don't have to bring in each of these 3 pieces each time, you can save the fish. And then when we bring it in, it will come in as a whole fish. Now, one more thing that I did to get my fish to be nice and dense is I actually selected the body. Now remember, there's 2 parts of the body. And if you use the little toggle switch next to the word length, it will switch it from length to density. And I just dropped the density by 0.1, so from 0.4 to 0.3, so less. So the stitches will be more filled in. Have you ever stitched some designs and wondered, gosh, I wish that would be filled in? And just by making it shorter doesn't really do that. It just, yeah, you want to change the density. So if you hop back up to the nose of the fish, drop its density to 0.3. And I actually did it to the tail as well because there's just a little part of the little kind of circle stitch, and I brought that down as well, just a little bit more. So it had kind of all the same density. Then we're going to save it. Now I've done this a few times, and so I'm going to call this fish number 3. So I know the difference from all the fish that I've been creating, and we'll touch save. At this point, if you just want to stitch out the fish and see how it looks, see if you like the way it came out, that's exactly what you want it to do. Go ahead and do a test run. When you want to start to put it together with the alphabets, here's how we're going to do it. Start with a new create sequence. So this will bring us to that empty screen that we've seen before. Go where your lettering is to the fonts, and I am a fan of the block alphabet. It's just a nice, easy one to work with, and I'm going to keep everything with capital letters. It just always looks nice and crisp. I get a nice, good height for everything, and it's just easy. So we could start with a fish and then start with 1 fish, 2 fish, or we could just start with the letters. It's just however you start. You might want to remember just put the fish in at the end, so when we start it again, we have a fish in between each of the 2 words. Okay, so let's just go ahead. 1 space fish. Okay, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to bring in the fish. Go to your saved areas. This is going to look like your file manager, also called My Sonnet. And I'm going to scroll down. I do have a few things in here. I also have fish 1, 2, and 3. So there's fish 3. So I can touch and hold, and you will bring in a fish. I also noticed that before I had a space after the H of fish. So that will be something that, if we want to, we can move the cursor back up and add a space. So just know that if you forget something, you can always go in and add it. And then I'm going to arrow down past my fish parts and continue with the second part. Let's do 1 fish and now 2. You know what? So I'm going to add a space. 2 space fish space. Go get our fish from our memory. Touch, touch and hold. Add our letters. Start with a space. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, red. Fish, space, and keep on going. And since we didn't start with a fish, we'll put 1 more fish at the end, and then it will look like there is a fish between each of the items. Touch and hold. And probably need to add that space because we didn't start with a space at the beginning. At this point, if you want to save it, touch the save option at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, go ahead and do the check mark and you're ready to start stitching. Now let's say you get through this and you realize you need to go alter something, or maybe you spelled something wrong. Here's how you go to edit it. So if you just touch create sequence, that is going to clear this and open a new one. So to edit this, touch and hold. Watch what pops up. Edit in sequence. So what we need to do is edit what's on the screen. So we're going to touch that. It will pull this whole sequence back in, and at this point you can arrow up or down or do whatever you need to do, add, subtract designs. Maybe you save it as a new item again, and then that way you have kind of your original that might not have been perfect, but you still have your original, and you have a second version. You can always go back when you're done or when perfected everything, that you can go in and delete the ones that you want. So that is how I started stitching. Don't forget to stabilize well. I have woven iron-on interfacing to the back of the black fabric, and I've added a layer of tear-away stabilizer as well. And that is how you can get stitches to look perfect and not so it wrinkles your fabric. If you want to check out that ASMR video, click on the link in this upper corner and check it out. If you're looking for all the videos that we are doing on the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 3, find the link in the playlist in the description. We also have online courses that are perfect for mastering this beautiful machine. And if this video was helpful, make sure you're giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel.